Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another of our edition on our Scars to Stars series. Tonight, my name is Jalomi, and tonight we have another leading lady, a lady that is making her own way and creating space for women. She's flying the flags of women in the engineering space. She's flying the flag of women in the leadership and entrepreneurial space. She's one of the first Zambian female engineers to start their own business and to work and to be recognized by different stakeholders. She has been in the space for over 20 years. She is the chief executive officer and founder of the Chem Limited. And for over 20 years, she's been in the environmental and laboratory industry with entrepreneurial forward-thinking mindset and has demonstrated a track record of achievement. She's one of the first female engineers in Zambia to start a business in a male-dominated field. She's proactive, resourceful, and results-focused. She is the winner of the Push Award for Phenomenal Women in Engineering in 2020. And of course, she's also the recipient of the USAID grant under the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs Program in 2020, and so many other things she has achieved. We'd like to welcome today, and just to have her join us, Sharon Mabengwa Musonda. Sharon, thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome to Scars to Stars.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jalomi.
It is really awesome to have you here. And one of the people, your very good friend, you're part of the Coupes. We had her, Lady Norena, here, and it's such a wonderful thing to know you have been giving to the lives of women, being part of the Coupes story. But more importantly, today, we celebrate you, because you have been showing leadership and have taken the plunge into a male-dominated space. Engineering, most of the time, they look at as very male-dominated, but you have been there. You have worked in that space since 2015, I believe. Yes, your company started then, but it has started before. So you're going to tell us about that and how you came to activate it and the work you've been doing in this male-dominated space. So please tell us, let's start with Musonda from the beginning. I like starting with that because everyone has a beginning. You know, people say, a leader's born or made. And I said, there's no leader that is a leader that was not born. So it's better to start from there and we build up. So tell us about Musonda. This is you. So this is your day. This is your show. And we're just listening in and hearing the great things you have done.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jalomi. I'm greatly honored to feature on your program, and I'm really excited. I know that we're going to have a good time, and thank you for choosing me to feature on your program this evening. Thank you so much.
May I say something before you go on?
Yes,
the women chose you. The women chose you. The women that recognize your leadership, they chose you. I didn't choose you, so I don't have credit for it. It was the women.
Oh, thank you so much. Big ups to the women. Thank you, the women out there who, gave me this rare opportunity to just feature on your program. Thank you so much. It's exciting of late to just see, women pushing women forward. And we really thank God for this new wave. Awesome. And that's how we're able to be in such spaces. It's not because we have done so much that others cannot do, but it's because we are now really supporting each other. Thank you so much. So, Pastor Jalomi, you asked me to just explain, to just say something about who this Musonda is, where is she coming from. So I'll just give a brief history about myself. My full name's Sharon Mabengwa Musonda, and I was born in Kitwe Central Hospital. Okay. So as people would say, I'm a copper. I was brought up on the copper belt to a lovely couple, and Mr. and Mrs. John Mabengwa, but they're both late. May their sweet souls continue to rest in peace. But those played a significant role in who I am today. So I'm born in a family of 4. I've got 3 brothers, and I'm the only girl. And briefly, so that's about me. That's about my family background. So I was actually from grade 1 to 7, I was at Kidder Primary School. And then my secondary school, I was at Helen Kaunda from grade 8 to 12. I did my first more like tertiary qualification at the Copperbelt University and did a chemical engineering diploma. Then much later in my years, that's when I went back and did my my degree in environmental engineering at the Copperbelt University.
Okay. Why did you
Yeah.
choose environmental engineering? Because today the environment is such a big thing. When you go to the SDGs, you find that a lot of it sustainable, having this green earth, sustainable earth, and environmental engineering becomes so relevant to the world we live in today. At that time, and coming into engineering also, you said it's a male-dominated space, as we read from you. Why did you choose engineering? And then going into environmental engineering, why did you choose those areas?
Okay, I'll tell you something quite interesting, Pastor Jalomi. Growing up, I found myself tilted towards science, especially in my secondary years. I remember being part of the Jets Club and doing a number of projects in the Jets Club. And at one point, I think I was second. I came second in the northern region. So at that point, I had this, I really liked sciences, but then what I really wanted to do was law. But then I had a small hitch because to do law, I needed to do geography. And then geography, I was not so good at it. I was really failing to concentrate, but put me in a space where I'm doing math, where I'm doing chemistry, I'm doing physics. I just used to get the excitement. And I think my love and passion for science stems from there. So coming from such a background, and I had very supportive teachers in a girls' school at Helen Kaunda. So coming from there, the time we were finishing our secondary school then, it's not like what is happening now, because it's like you had to apply for your tertiary education whilst you were still in grade 12. And then depending on how you perform, when these applications are taken to the universities, when the results come out, your names would just come out at a particular university where you had applied, either a university or a college. And apparently this time around, I was actually picked by CBU. And believe me, chemical engineering was the first ever program that year. We were actually the pioneers of the program.
Wow.
So I had very little idea about what chemical engineering was all about. My first my first choice was actually production management. But what happened is that in the particular program of production management, the class had reached like its full capacity, but they still wanted other girls then to join science-dominated fields, male-dominated fields like science. So that's how I was actually pushed into the chemical engineering program. It was scary at the time because we didn't have mentors in the field of who I could actually ask what chemical engineering was all about. And in those days, we were not even so conversant with, computers. The world was not as nice as it is with the, information. So you really had to find your way to find out what this course is all about. So it was like trying to find your feet, but you're already into the program.
Okay.
So fast forward, when I got into my third year, now I got my feet and knew what I was doing, because now I understood from the courses, I understood what we're going for, and we're now ready to go for internship. And from there were not so many. It was at that particular sorry. It was that at that particular time when there was more like a recession and companies were closing up, mines were also winding up. So I would have loved to find myself in a manufacturing company, but then because most manufacturing companies were closing up, we had dropped then, and even ZCCM, there were a number of retrenchments there. that's how I actually found myself with Environmental Council of Zambia then, which is now Zambia Environmental Management Agency. And that's how my journey in environmental issues began.
Okay.
So
You
then
seem
I
to have,
worked there. Pardon?
please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I worked there as an intern for over close to 2 years. And after 2 years, we were told that the government could not take us in. And so I had to go back job hunting. And that's how I now found myself with the University of Zambia, working in the environmental engineering lab. So it was like I was now, my base was Environmental Council of Zambia, which is ZEMA. And then I now moved to the University of Zambia in the environmental engineering lab. So this was more of a practical field. I was doing water analysis, soil analysis, and basically a lot more exposed to environmental issues then. So because at that point, I only had a diploma in chemical engineering, and I had an urge to improve on my qualifications. But then I didn't want to do a degree in chemical engineering because of what was already going on. You know, we didn't have much of manufacturing. The manufacturing industry was not doing so well. And I
Yes.
was so fortunate at the time when I was now trying to upgrade in my studies to improve in my career. And the program was introduced, environmental engineering program was introduced at Copperbelt University. And I was privileged. I think I was part of the second or third intake of those
Okay.
who actually, did the environmental engineering program. So that was my journey.
Okay.
That was my journey.
So a lot of it was kind of providential, if I may say so, because you wanted to do production management.
Exactly.
You loved sciences, but geography will keep you away from law. I think we need to have more women like you that are passionate about sciences, because today I believe that the girl child has to go towards the STEM and build that capacity, because the world we're
Exactly.
going into, the fourth industrial revolution, and everything is going digital technology. We need to up our capabilities. So you becoming that is a huge role model to a lot of women coming behind you, knowing that
Yeah.
women can excel in the sciences. Now, you've
Yeah.
come to engineering and you worked with the university. You went on to blaze your trail as an entrepreneur, becoming probably the first Zambian female woman starting her own business in engineering. Can you tell us about that? And what boldness and courage made you do that and not stay in the safe, secure environment of university and such employment?
Yeah. So I'll tell you something, Pastor Jalomi. So when I was working at the university, I saw a gap because I was the one in charge of securing laboratory equipment and
Okay.
consumables. But then I realized that the people who were our suppliers then had very little knowledge in what they were bringing to us.
Okay.
And more like we just had to tell them what we wanted, but they didn't understand. And
Okay.
in the event that there was no, that particular product that we wanted was not on the market, they could not give us an alternative. But when working in the lab, there's always an alternative. If you're using substance A, and then substance A seems to run out, maybe let me say substance A is an alkaline. So meaning that there are a lot more other chemicals that you can use which can replace that particular substance A as long as it's alkaline. But when it came to our suppliers, they would not go an extra mile to think because they were limited in their knowledge. They were not knowledgeable, and they didn't really go far in their studies. And that's where I saw the gap, and I started to think, this looks like a good avenue, and I might as well one day, just be a laboratory, a supplier for laboratory equipment and consumables. And so if you look at the company that was registered, I registered it as DICAM Laboratory Supplies, because I was just, at the time, I was just looking at laboratory supplies. So I started as a sole trader. That was now in 2006. So, but I had to pack it a bit because now I had to go to school and upgrade my studies. So I registered it as the business name in 2006, 2007. Then I went back to school in 2007. Only came back finished about 2011. 4 years down the line, I now decided to just go full-fledged and go into environmental. Now that I had another branch, so it was more like with the environmental, with the chemical supply company that I already had, I could now introduce a new branch of business, which was environmental. And by then, there were very few players in the sector.
Okay. Tell us what was the challenge? Because you went in, you registered in 2006. You tried severally to get it going, even while you went back to school, but you only officially came back and started operating from what I read in 2015. What are the challenges? Because as a woman, you're coming into this space, you're going out, leaving the comfort of job security to take your life in your hands. What challenges did you face as a woman to set this up? Were finances an issue? What did that play? And how does it play for a woman to say, I'm starting my business on my own?
Of course, Pastor Jalomi, it cannot go unmentioned. Finance is one of the big challenges in the business, especially for women. Because even I think growing up, though in my case, I would at this point want to attribute a lot of my success story to the two very important men in my family. Though I've got my other three brothers, so it's more like I was surrounded by men. My father played a very key role in helping me have this interest, because when he noticed that I had interest in science-related subjects, he used to be there for me and would encourage me. I mean, if it meant him stopping work and taking me into industry for research, he would do that.
Wow.
And I attribute my success to him. And I would encourage, at this point, I would encourage fathers out there, like they should really, because, like being girly, we really treasure all that our father says about us, because you always want to be, you're seeking approval from a male figure, and it's so gratifying, especially to get it from your own dad. Yes. You have this level of confidence, and I think even my level of confidence, some of it emanates from the confidence that my dad had in me, because at times he would just tell me, you're a star and you're a go-getter, and whatever you put your mind to, you can actually get it. So my dad died when I was at the age of 17, and it's that support to date that still encourages me even to go on. And I feel if he had maybe lived a little bit more longer, maybe my journey would have been slightly better. Because when it came to finance, this was a huge challenge, because being in a male-dominated field, the banks would not take a risk, and then even just to navigate around business was not so easy, because at the time when I started out as an entrepreneur, there were not so many women entrepreneurs, later on women in science.
Yeah.
So there were very few, if not none, where I could go and get such support. But at this point, I would also be very grateful to my husband, Musonda, who has also believed in me and has given me unrelentless support. Every time I would just share a dream with him, and whatever resources would have as a family, he would believe in me and say, you know what, you can do this. And that's the other thing, like husbands, our spouses, you really have to be supportive for us women who are in, engineering or any science related. Now you can see I've got a number of friends who are also doctors who are running their own businesses. I've got a dentist doctor, and she's got tremendous support as well from the husband. So I think our husbands also play a very, very important role in giving us this support. So yeah, of course, finance was a challenge, and as well, just being in a male-dominated field, it's not easy because like other men will be like, okay, she's now trying to compete with us, so what does she bring to the table? And I had to bring it out, like, I'm not here to compete with you, and that this is still my story. Whenever I go into meetings and we're going in for a tender, I find that I'm the only woman there. I always try and make the male figure very comfortable, to assure them that I haven't come here to like compete with you, but I've come to work with you. And with that type of language, I've actually been embraced a lot more.
I really enjoy listening to that, because from quite a number of the women we have talked to, most of them in their leadership have just described what you just did also. They always looked at it as a collaboration. They looked at it as accentuating the value of the others and seeing that, look, there's not a competition. And in valuing others, they were valued and respected as well. So
Exactly.
I find that it is a unique quality of women. We don't go head on and say, okay, we're competing, but we look for partnerships, collaborations, and more importantly, respecting other people, appreciating what they bring. And that brings also respect to you.
Exactly. Exactly, Pastor.
Okay, so thank you for that. So finance was a challenge. Tell us also, going through also, how did education limit you in establishing the first time you set out to establish it? What role did education play, and what value did it bring to you after you had gained some more competence to set up and to see DICAM go on to become what it is today?
Pastor, when I was just at diploma level,
Yes.
I think there was very little that I could do. My knowledge base was limited.
Okay.
So in certain instances, as much as the men folk would want to support me, my knowledge base was limited. And that's one of the challenging things that I just thought at one point that I had to fold the company a little bit and just go into school and improve my knowledge base. And this has been a total game changer, because there are a lot more things that I understand, and I'm still into school. I'm now trying to register for my master's I did a bit of environmental law, and I would want to do environmental management. So my knowledge base has actually been a very good, it has been a good advantage to my company and to my business.
Okay.
The
So
way I approach,
education is a game changer.
yes, it has been a real game changer.
And what is the opportunity in the environment today? Is one of the major goals of the SDGs today. The world is going towards a green environment. We're moving from fossil fuel and carbon fuel. We're going into very clean environment. What opportunities lie in that space? Because most of your work has been done with environmental protection, a lot of things you're doing in that space. What opportunities lie for women? Because you are leading in that area, being one of the only women in that area. Are there opportunities for women to go into that? Is it something we should look at, think about?
The opportunities, I think, are vast, Pastor Jalomi, because not too long ago, I was doing a project I was doing a project for a certain corporate company, where they actually told me that they're trying to encourage local entrepreneurs, because the environmental consultancy sector was dominated by international companies, especially those coming out of South Africa into Zambia. So there were very few Zambians who were actually into the business of environmental, very few into the business of environmental consultancy. And now it was like the corporate space was ready to support Zambians, but there were very few Zambians, later on women on the market. And I remember the first time we took up a job with this corporate company, it was about hazardous waste management. So they had a lot of hazardous waste, which was piled up in some area, and they needed someone to do a cleanup, a sorting, later on exportation of this hazardous waste. And I'm happy to say we did a fantastic job and we're highly recommended. But then where we found a hitch was that there was no local facility where this hazardous waste had to be managed, later on disposed. And that's one of our big projects that we're trying to work on, and that is to set up the first. There might be others which are not official, so ours will be one of the official ones registered with DEMA. The first hazardous waste management site, which will be located in Central Province, and this will be a big change, a big game changer for our companies in Zambia, the mines, the manufacturing sector, and those in agriculture, because it would drastically reduce their, it would drastically reduce the amounts, the huge amounts that they spend on exporting their waste to other countries.
So there are opportunities, thank you for that. There are opportunities for women if they step into these sectors. There's a lot of opportunity. We're talking about the environmental space now, and you are just looking at hazardous waste. And in being in that space, you're just like you were in the university and you discover that there's a gap. And that gap, you're taking advantage of it to create solutions. And you have come into environmental engineering and all as an entrepreneur, not as somebody just having a job. Now you are saying in doing that, you have discovered opportunities. So the more you enter into a place, the more opportunities actually you can create for yourself. And women have a role to play in this area.
Exactly, Pastor Jalomi. And one thing I've noticed with, stepping out into spaces where you're not comfortable. It's not about you start the business today and tomorrow you're not in that space. It's about commitment, firstly. How committed are you to whatever you've started? And then secondly, it's about consistency. Because if you're going to be in it for a few months and you're out, you're not able to study certain trends and certain things that, because you have to build a case. Like for us as a company, we have built a case that we don't have a hazardous waste facility in Zambia, and it's not really necessary for these companies to be exporting their waste, because we're the ones who are generating this hazardous waste. We have to be responsible enough, and we can have a facility in Zambia, do our management responsibly, as well as at a much reasonable rate, which will give profit to our, to our agriculture sector, our mining sector, as well as the manufacturing sector as well. So it's about commitment and consistency. We had to stay in this thing because remember, I started as a sole trader. So when I started as a sole trader or a business name, there was at one point when the business was not really looking like it's working. And a lot of times I would tell myself, am I really sure? Maybe I might as well just, call it quits. But then I reached a point where I removed the word of quitting from my vocabulary and tell myself that quitting is not an option. So even up to today, I still live by that, where I tell myself quitting is not an option. Obviously, entrepreneurship is not easy. There are a lot of challenges, but I found that the more persistent I am, the more resilient I become, the more solutions I start to find. I'll tell you something that happened, Pastor Jalomi, even over the COVID times, because with COVID, there was no movement. Businesses were closed, our offices were closed, there was no consultancy going on. And I sat down because I still had workers to pay. And
Yeah.
I also have my own business, my own bills to pay. Our children still had to continue with school, with their online school. And I sat down, I started to think, okay, what next? And how do I move from here? And then I'm happy to report that we are also into sanitation. So we have mobile toilets around,
Okay.
which we hire out to corporate clients as well as individuals. And it's on the downside because there were a lot of deaths that took place. So we actually survived on our new business, which is now hiring out of mobile toilets. And as I was talking about it, because of my base, my education and my knowledge base is much wider. Even when it comes to sanitation issues, I'm able to understand them better than other people who've just gone into it because of the business. So these are some of the opportunities that in times of challenging moments that we actually found that we could actually venture into.
So in every challenge, therefore, a woman can find opportunity. In every challenge,
Exactly.
there is an opportunity. If COVID had not happened, this stream of income, this business wouldn't have come to the fore. But you're not giving up your resilience, your commitment. You're saying there's no, I can't, it won't happen. We will look for solutions. You have brought out. So women facing challenges, therefore, if they would be dogged and they have grit, they will create other avenues and opportunities for themselves. Would that be true?
Exactly.
Because that's what you are saying to us.
Exactly, Pastor Jalomi. There's a saying which could be on the side of every gray cloud lies a silver lining.
Yeah.
And I think at times you won't be able to see the silver lining if you concentrate too much on the gray clouds. But you have to sit down and do an introspective and ask yourself, what is it that I can honestly do? And when you have these real chats with yourself, you should be able to see an opportunity which lies not very far from what you do. And this is what we found, that we could actually now be of service to our our community and our clients by providing mobile toilets, and it actually paid for our rentals and our salaries.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And it would never have happened. Let's talk
No.
about entrepreneurship. A lot of women trade and they mistake that for entrepreneurship. You have gone on to win grants. You won a 25,000 grant from the US Aid Academy of Women Entrepreneurs, and you have done a lot in that space. Help us understand what's the difference between people say, what are you doing? I'm doing business. I'm doing business. I'm an entrepreneur. Would you say entrepreneurship is, because you just said to us, you don't stay there for 5-6 months and buck out because you face a challenge. You stay there until you win. Is entrepreneurship to you just starting a business to see if you can make money, or it is bringing solutions? What is entrepreneurship to the woman watching out there? Is it trading, buying and selling?
Pastor Jalomi, I would say entrepreneurship could be relative, depending on how you really understand it.
Okay.
Even buying and selling, you would consider it entrepreneurship. That's if you are meeting a need.
Okay.
So there's a need, you identify it, and whatever service or good that you're going to bring in is you make sure that that need is being met in that particular community. It means that you're doing a business and you're doing entrepreneurship. So, but the only challenge that we have at times, sorry to say, at times as Zambians, is to do a copy paste, and the idea of just feeling lazy to think.
Okay.
Just because A has been trading in solar systems. I know solar systems is a brilliant thing. Doesn't mean that I should also set up something which will be doing solar.
Okay.
Maybe the person would be doing solar panels. I can actually be doing, accessories for solar panels.
Yes.
And it's still a business, because at some point, there's always tear and wear. So people will put up their solar panels and everything else, but they'll need to repair certain things. And where are they going to go? That's why you find that at times you don't necessarily have to buy the whole system, but it's because we are not thinking. When your neighbor is doing a solar systems, you can now start doing accessories. It will be a very good business because you already have a market. But we don't spend time to think through the business, the whole loop, and we only think about it more like partially. So when you're going into entrepreneurship, look for a need. That would be the best place to start from. Like I've told you in my journey, when I was at the University of Zambia, I saw that there was a need of qualified people who could actually join the supply chain of chemicals and equipment. And yes, I did very well. Even when it came to relating with my clients, they liked it because I understood their need. When it came to environmental, it has also given me very good opportunities to interact with my clients because I understand the landscape of Zambia better, more than the international, my international competitors. So if you take me in Serenge and you want me to understand the environmental landscape, I'm able to talk about it brilliantly because I understand Zambia. So even when you're dealing with certain clients, even for international organizations, they would rather deal with a person who stays within that particular community because they're not going to move out. So the best place is look for a need within the community. That's the best starting point.
Entrepreneurship, therefore, is tied to meeting needs, solving problems in communities, in spaces. That may be social entrepreneurship too, but there is a need and there is something you are going to satisfy to solve a problem. So that is the angle you're coming from. You went on to win the US Development Fund Award, and for them to give you, the Americans don't give money out very easy. You must go through the eye of a needle. What are the things, what are the qualities they saw in you to give you $25,000 as a grant? How did you prepare? What did they see? What qualified you for that? Can you hear me? I think we have a freeze. Okay, we're trying to get back to our guest, Musonda, Sharon Musonda, and I'm sure that she will come back to us. Probably that was just, an internet glitch. Some of the things that Sharon has done, let me read out to you some of the achievements that she has made, accomplishments, while we bring her back. She has been the recipient of the 25,000 USD US Development Fund grant under the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs Program 2020. She was the first cohort and she was one of the beneficiaries. She also has been the recipient of the Push Awards. The Push Awards is one of the most prestigious awards for women in Zambia presently, started by the Push Group, and she has won the Phenomenal Woman in Engineering Award in 2020. She also has a Fellow of Engineering Institute of Zambia. She's a Fellow of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. She's currently the Engineering Institute of Zambia, Lusaka branch chairperson. She's a board member of KUPES. KUPES does absolutely brilliant work. Welcome back, Sharon. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay, so we're trying to get her back. And KUPES, as you know, KUPES, we heard when we had the founder of KUPES come to us, Lady Noreen, and she told us they had reached over 1,600 young girls that are being mentored and within the network. So she's a board member of KUPES Young Women's Network. She's vice chair of Integrity Committee under a disciplinary committee of Engineering Institute of Zambia. She's area coordinator under District 1 Women of Integrity Board for Bread of Life. Welcome back, Sharon. Can you hear us?
Thank you. Thank you.
I am going through, while you were away, I was just reading some of your achievements. just a few of them.
All right.
What's going?
There was a problem with the connectivity.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
You were saying, we're asking you, what were those things that you feel qualified you to receive the grant that came in the area of entrepreneurship? What qualifies you for the US government to fund you, to give you that grant under the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs Award, so that somebody listening knows the kind of work and the kind of preparation you do if you want to qualify for such things? One thing we know, women will they have faced challenges raising finances to start their business, but there are finances to access. How do I access that? How did you do it?
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Jalomi. So I will say, I'll mention a few things that I feel were quite critical for me to actually get this grant. Firstly, it's commitment to your business. They want to be able to trace, how committed are you? Is it something that you've just thought about because you've heard that there are grants going on? Is it something that you have, you have concrete evidence that this is a business that you have tried and you have had successes in as well as failures, and you still believe in this dream? Pardon? Yes, they want to see your track record.
Okay, please go on.
A solid track record that you know what you're really talking about. Secondly, as part of the track record, they want to see consistency. How long have you been at this? Because there are a lot of people who've had ideas the past 5 years. All they talk about is, one day when I have this money, I want to start this type of business, and I would want it to be situated in such and such a place. They want to see what level of commitment has there been? What have you done in realizing your dream? Like, I'll tell you something, like on this particular project that we're doing, they were able to see that I've already secured land.
Okay.
They saw that we had already secured certain pieces of equipment, though the amount that was needed for the particular project to take off was quite huge, but we had already started taking baby steps. That showed commitment to the project and that we were consistent. And, when it came to, putting documentation, how far have you gone with particular, regulatory statutory bodies, if you had done consultation? Because money does not limit you to going to certain places. There are certain businesses that you want, but there are certain also laws, Zambian laws, that surround the particular business. How much knowledge do you know about that?
Okay.
It shouldn't come when you're trying to source for financing. It shouldn't come as a surprise, or where the financier has to tell you, you have to go to such and such a place and find out. All those, facts should be on your fingertips. Certain places.
Please go on. I was just following you because somebody is watching today, and this mindset, sometimes we're in the place where we hear about grants, we hear about people are giving money, and all we want to do, that's when we there and then go and start registering things in PACRA and this and that, and we feel that just doing that we qualify. So you're saying you have to have a track record, and you have to be knowledgeable in that. You must know your macro, your micro environment, and be able to analyze and know what to do.
Exactly. And just have an idea. I mean, if you started this business, how long is it going to take you to make a profit? Because most people who are not in entrepreneurship tend to think, when you just start your business today, tomorrow you should have a profit, and if you don't have, it's time to quit. Business doesn't go like that. The first few years, you might actually, be going down, because it's a learning curve. Every business has a part where you have to learn. And that's why I always tell my mentees that when you're looking for a job, they'll always ask for experience. And a lot of people, like I think in Europe, they pay more for the experience.
Yes.
Because they know that with experience, it has a cost attached to it. So
Yes.
even as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to lose and win certain, yeah. So on you're trying to get the gist of the business, you may lose, and they want to know how far have you lost and how far have you won. So you're going to win certain things, and certain things you may lose. So this is all part of your success story. So your success story is going to have your failures and your successes, and not only your successes alone.
And
so they'll ask about you.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you had done.
Yeah, your knowledge base. How much do you know? Because there are a lot of people who start businesses because so and so said that they're making 3 times the amount, and you don't know how they are even going to make that money. There was this, I don't know if you heard about it, Pastor Jalomi. There was this I tend to think it's a scam, where they were saying, no, it's actually village banking. After 2 weeks, you get so much money, you get 10,000, you put in 2,000, but everything was not adding up, and no one took time to understand what was really going on. And that's a weakness for Zambians. We always want to rush for something quickly without actually understanding how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's about our reading culture, because if you need to broaden your knowledge base, you can never run away from books. You have to either go on the net, find books to read newspapers, what has been done, go to certain places and search for information with regard to the particular business that you want to venture into.
You mentioned something as you spoke, that failing is part of success, but a lot of people are ashamed to fail. They feel because they failed, they are ashamed, and they don't want people to think they are failed or they are failures, and therefore they're afraid to try anything. They're afraid to go into spaces. You have come into a space that is predominantly male dominated. You've come into a space that is predominantly dominated by foreigners. But you are saying that's an opportunity, and you went in there, not just as a woman, as a Zambian, saying Zambians should have part of this. Zambians can do this. And you're going into an uncharted area, and you're coming on tops. So wasn't there a time where you felt, oh, I'm failing, they'll laugh at me, what people say to me, let me stop, let me go to the safe space? How did that affect you? Did you face any such thing?
In the initial years, Pastor Jalomi, I would be very honest. That's always, something that you want to. You're always scared, and
oh, sorry, we lost her again, and she was just getting to telling us some of the challenges that we face. And it says at the beginning, it is obvious. If we go back to what Sharon has been sharing with us, she's been sharing with us that there are very significant men that have played a role in her life, her father and her husband. She's told us how wonderful a family she came in. And obviously you saw that she's coming from a beautiful family. And welcome back, Sharon. I was just ad-libbing for you until you came back. So please continue the things you were facing when you started, and the fears and the shame.
In my initial years in entrepreneurship, I always used to beat myself and used to think that this was the time for me to call it quits, because I was actually losing a lot of money, and things were not actually working out. Little did I know actually that it was actually part of my success story, because now I know how to navigate around my business. I know what works and what doesn't work. Because without those failures, I was not going to know which path is the right one and which path is the wrong one. So where I am right now, there's still certain things that I'm still learning, but I've learned to embrace failure, because it's part of my success story. So I've learned to lose some at some point, because I know that I still have to pay a price in trying to learn something, especially if you're trying to learn something new. So failure is just, it's for me, it's just one of those things. As I mentioned earlier, that quitting is not an option for me.
So mental attitude, mental discipline, character. So your business, you don't just build a business, the business builds you. And the
Exactly.
character that you develop while you are going through these formative stages sees you through the success line, takes you through. Will that be true if,
Exactly.
yes?
Exactly. So mental strength is very, very important. And then most of all, having a goal, because we don't have so many good stories in Zambia of entrepreneurs, where they've passed on the business from generation to generation. And for me, I have told God, I've prayed about it. I've said, Lord, this business that I started, it doesn't have to end at me. It has to
Okay.
go into my generation, future generations. My grandchildren should be able to say this business was actually started by my grandmother, and they should be able to run it and run it well. And for me, that's my bigger goal.
Okay.
And
So
at
you are
times, if you
building
don't have a
generational
goal,
foundations and wealth.
pardon?
You are building generational foundations and wealth. Having a big
Exactly.
picture of you.
Exactly, because Pastor Jalomi, remember I told you about my dad. My dad was actually a business person, but believe you me, at the time when he died, we didn't even have a penny, not even a house where we could, where we could stay. And I said, no, this is not the way business is supposed to run. When you have gone to glory to be with the Lord, your future generations are supposed to have a better footing. And for
Okay.
me, that's one of my visions in life and mission, that I should leave my children in a better place, and my grandchildren should be they should not fight the battles that I've fought. They should not be walking door to door looking for business. They should actually be driving when they are looking for businesses. If I walked, it doesn't make any sense if they also should start walking when they're trying to seek for business. And they should look for bigger contracts. If I was looking for contracts worth hundreds of thousands and millions, they should be looking for businesses worth billions of dollars. So that's my goal. I'm quite
So,
ambitious, but I think that drives me and wakes me up every morning.
so a woman thinks about the future of her children and she's trying to create a base that they leverage on. And every parent, you just talked about your dad, what he has done for you,
Mhm.
and all that, how he helped you. So you leveraged on him, maybe not financially,
Exactly.
but you leveraged on building your self
Mhm.
concept, building your
Exactly.
confidence, building your dreams, and having a direction, clear direction. And you are
Yeah,
saying to us that if we're going to succeed, we must have goals. But what thing
exactly.
you just did to us was just showed us something. You gave us a glimpse into why you have goals. Because when your
Mhm.
dad passed, there was nothing for you. And you said to yourself from
Mhm.
then, I don't want this to happen to my children. I don't want to have a future like this.
No.
So there is always a
Mhm.
why. There is a why that propels a woman or has propelled you into achieving and succeeding.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's come into
So
your, please go on.
the other thing
Please
that
go
I
on.
wouldn't want to leave out, Pastor Jalomi, is also record keeping.
Okay.
We're talking about some of the things that
That
made me be
qualified you.
successful in.
Yes.
Yes, you need to keep your records. You need to know, if you're a small business, how much money are you spending on your internet, on your data? How much
Okay.
money are you spending on your rentals? How much
Okay.
money are you spending on your phone bill? How much money now are you reinvesting? If you have a business today, how much are you reinvesting back into the business? And what are you doing with your profits? So they
Okay.
want to know that actually, even as small as if you are making 1,000 kwacha, how are you able to grow the 1,000 kwacha?
Yes.
You should be able to show that you had 1,000 kwacha and you're at 2,000, and from 2,000 you're at 10,000, from 10,000 you went to 100,000, and that's how now you are getting to 1,000,000 kwacha for them to entrust you with a certain amount. If you are not able to show all this, it becomes very, very difficult. I think it's not only for the USADF, but it's also for other financiers as well. If at all we need to get financing, especially as women, where we don't have to. I'm very grateful to the US Embassy. I'm also very grateful to WIA. It's a place where I learned to network. So women
Okay.
also, you need to get yourself involved into these, these organizations like WEAC is a very good platform as well. Push Network. You find that you actually find mentors there. You find us who can be able to, tell you a bit here, something, so that you don't necessarily have to go into the ditches and the traps of some of the things that we had to go through. Your journey should be made much easier with us having gone ahead of you.
So we have a lot of opportunities even to access funding and resources for women. I think the world today is most friendly to women in that regard. There's more opportunities. There are lots of organizations looking to fund women businesses, but we haven't built the capability, the capacities. We haven't built the competencies. We haven't built this records and things to qualify. And what you are
Yeah,
saying is that there are women groups that can help you build those capacities to have access to these resources.
exactly.
And what
And we
you
shouldn't be scared to network. We shouldn't be scared. We are not, no, no person is an island. And I think at times women, we are so closed up, we don't want to share, even share your ideas. But you just never know what the next person, they are. Because even for me to get into this program, I was actually sharing my idea with one of the women. They said, you know what? Actually, in this particular program, we don't have so many women who are in engineering. So you might stand a chance. And that's my journey. And here I am having,
so we need to network as women. We need to network as a people. We need to know what is going on. And when you start networking, people can share with you opportunities.
exactly.
Let us quickly go into your space with regards to your humanitarian work. You're giving back to the women. You work, you just alluded to the Push Network, and you are part of the board of the CUPES organization, mentoring girls. What work have you done in that space, and are you doing? And why are you there mentoring women and trying to see that the younger girls have a better future than you have had?
Okay, thank
What
you so
has been
much, Pastor Jalomi. I think giving back is one of the things that actually gives me a lot of gratification as a human being. I feel so much, I feel refreshed. I feel it gives me air to breathe. And even at times when my journey as an entrepreneur has been very rough, when I go into these places and in these spaces, like where I am a mentor with Coupe's Young Women's Network, it's a place where I just feel that is me. I'm able to talk to young women, not only about career progression, but also about other, just life in general. And I'm so happy to hear at times when a young lady, young girl tells me, Auntie, I'm so happy and grateful that you gave us that lesson on the day, because this is what I was about to do. But after you talked to us, my direction changed and I am where I am today because you say this. That actually gives me a lot of, reasons to leave. And then even under the Push Women Network, I have met with great women, like Keno Kanji. I've met with the likes of the former CEO of Zisk Insurance. I've met with generals, women generals. So that gives me also a reason to say, well, wow, women can really make it as long as they are really focused. And it's a beautiful network. Apart
Awesome.
from that, I also have a community school, which I never mentioned, but I've got about 180 kids in Serengeti where we want to put this hazardous, site. And
Yeah,
we've got 180 kids at the community school. And that's also my beautiful space.
brilliant, brilliant. Before you go, I would like to ask you, we've talked about the business industry you are in, we've talked about the opportunities, but we've not asked you what challenges have you faced as a woman. You gave us a glimpse into some of the challenges you faced when your dad passed, but in business, in the industry, what are kind of challenges you faced just because you're a woman, and how did you navigate and overcome them?
As I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, Pastor Jalomi, that when, I am yet to, like, just, I don't know if I would say just the makeup of a man, they want to protect their space.
Okay.
So when you go into a male-dominated field, everybody will give you that look as an, okay, so what do you want, where there are no girls here, there are no women here. What is it that you really want? And at that point, I had to put up a lot of confidence and also assure the men that I'm not there to fight for women's rights, but I'm there to work with them. And by embracing them and assuring them that I haven't come to, bring up women's rights, but I've come as a partner in development, I found that some actually have been quite lenient. Certain jobs they would actually say, she's an upcoming engineer in this particular field. And, others have gone way ahead and they're able to give me the nuggets of how to get around certain contracts.
Okay.
And the other thing has just been, because certain narratives will tell you that the woman's education ends in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So running a home, I've got 2 beautiful daughters and a grandchild on the way with a lovely husband. So that hasn't been very easy because there are times when my kids need me and I need to go in the field.
Okay.
But my husband has been of great support, as well as my extended family as well. They've understood, because engineering is something that I'm passionate about, and we've been able to work around. So having a supportive system is something that is quite critical when it comes to a woman, taking up leadership roles and being a partner with the men in development. It's not something that can actually be underplayed, but it's something that, because we have so much, you are connected to your children, you've got all these fears. If I go, then what? What if this person gets sick? But above all, as well, God has been my super support. Even when I've felt like I'm helpless, I have prayed and God has always come through. There are times when I've felt like giving up. But, we are team not quitting. So the greatest support has been God in my business and in my personal life.
Sharon, we want to thank you tonight. You have just told us that for a woman to be successful, she has to pay the price. But in paying the price, she has to have a great support system, which close to every female leader we have talked to have said. That one of the things that have helped them to succeed is have great support system, choosing the right spouses to help them through, who have supported them through and been their great champions. And you have shown us that whatever we want has a price. You sometimes will have to give up some things, but you have been able to do it because you have had the partnerships around you. We thank you for your time with us. We thank you that you have been bold and courageous enough to say there is no quitting. It means that your attitude really determines where you go and how far you go. If you make room to quit, then soon you will quit. But you have said there's no quitting and you have been going on. You faced challenges educationally. Your diploma wasn't good enough, but you went back and you have been performing. So education, you say, is a game changer for a woman. The right mental attitude.
Education is good.
It's good. So you say the right mental attitude, the right disciplines and tenacity, consistency. Most importantly, you say you have to know about what you are doing and you have to have certain capabilities that will draw help. You said there is great dividend in being networked, to be a part of the network, find out what's going on and seek mentors, because in these networks, you will find great mentors. So a woman doesn't have to walk in it alone. There are many women ready to help if she's ready to put herself there to learn. Failure is not fatal. It is part of your success journey. And these are lessons we have from you tonight. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the journey in the last 20 years and becoming recognized as a female, phenomenal woman engineer. You won that award last year. Even in spite of COVID, you created a new business and you are flourishing. So thank you for this. We thank your husband and your dad and your family that have helped your two beautiful daughters. Thank you for contributing for your success. We will look forward to seeing you. We want to see you pass the baton. We want to see you come talk to young people, passing the baton to them, telling them how you made it. So we're looking forward to that. We will talk to you about that. But thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you to the women who gave me this opportunity. I'm so, so grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks goes to the Push Network, Women's Network.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Kanji, and the leadership. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I want to say thank you to all the viewers. Viewers, thank you for watching Scars to Start. We brought out a woman from the engineering sector today, a woman that is building capacity, showing us the opportunity in the environment and calling on more women to come aboard. She says Zambians need to own that space, and foreigners cannot do it better than us that live here. And we thank God that she's the first woman engineer starting her business, and she has done so well. And she's still saying there's so much more to do because there's so much more opportunities emerging. We will see you tomorrow again. It is going to be a fabulous person tomorrow, a wonderful woman coming to tell us about the HR space and how she has become such a leader in that space. So please join us tomorrow for Scars to Stars. And from my team, the people that put this together, thank you for appreciating the work they're doing. And we will see you tomorrow. God bless you. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.